is there a upper bound on how long your session length should be? Is there some accumulation of something that's happening in there when you just take time in the gym?
Yes. Assuming you're going pretty hard, generally what we see is after about 2 hours of consistent hard training in the gym, the amount of systemic fatigue you're going to have, acute systemic fatigue, short-term fatigue that lasts hours, is going to be so high that you can no longer recruit individual muscle fibers very well for whatever you're training. And it's kind of like, it's just, yeah, you're doing training, but not much is happening. You're much better off cutting off that session, going and getting some rest, doing more weekly sessions. Some people be like, I train twice a week, but it's 3 hours each time. Yeah, but that last hour kind of fucking sucks.
3 times a week for 2 hours.
Better in most cases. Now, some people can train up to 2 hours and have really good performance, especially if an intra-workout drink with some protein and carbs.
I was going to say, obviously, you're going to run out of fuel by this stage as well.
Totally. Run down on fuel.
There's only so many Sleep Token songs or Blink-182 that you can listen to as well.
That's right. Yeah, you're going through your playlist to see what fucks. So yeah, generally under 2 hours. For many people, anywhere between 45 minutes and an hour and a half is where their best workouts will occur. And you can have great workouts that last less than 45 minutes, but I would say is a bit of a technical efficiency question there, is especially with people with lives outside of the gym, which is a nominal concept I don't know anything about. I've allegedly. If you fucking got to the gym, you went to the locker room, you stared at some dicks, you put on your workout clothes, you came out, it's already such a sunk cost. You might as well go crush out an hour and a half of workout.
You're going to maybe have like a 1-to-1 travel to training ratio on time.
Yes. And that's for some people not bad. You just don't want it to go much worse than that. So a lot of times people will say, well, aren't 20-minute workouts effective? Yeah. If you do many of them throughout the week, sure. If you have really low ball fitness goals. But I would say, yeah, get in there, and 45 minutes to an hour and a half is a really good answer for many people. If you do much longer than that, the only question I have for you is, do you still have a lot of fucking energy to keep going? And if the answer is like, dude, I fucked my shit up after 2 hours and 15 minutes, hey, slow clap. These are all averages. Apparently it works for you. Amazing.
How often should people train each week? Sets, muscle groups, training frequency, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. So there are 2 questions there. One is, how often should you train any given muscle per week? And the answer to that is generally anything can work between 1 and 6 times. You can train the same muscle even 7 times a week if you like. Generally, you can train it once. Neither one is going to give you the ideal, although 6 is probably a better answer than 1. Muscles just don't take that long to recover. So people say, oh, I just hit my chest once a week. Well, how long were you sore for? They're like, well, halfway through the week, I was healed. Did you feel strong after that? Like, yeah. So the fuck are you waiting another 3 or 4 days? You're just leaving, like, you could be fucking doing it again, but you're not. So I would say anywhere between 2 and 4 times a week for the same muscle is a good idea. 2 is great for a lot of people. 3 and 4 is more for like specialization phases and folks that just recover really rapidly. Like, yeah, your chest might not heal 3 times a week from any kind of normal training, but your forearms might heal just fine. You might be able to train them for 5 days or maybe 18 days a week like you seem to with your fucking.
Everyone's got something. You know what I mean? Yeah.
The other question is, how many total sessions, how many total times in the do I go into the gym? So I'll say this. For folks that just want to be healthy and already have a decent amount of muscularity, 2 times a week is totally cool. You train with weights Monday and Thursday, whole body. You're going to get a ton of great health, a ton of benefits, a ton of physique. It's going to be awesome. For just general recreational fitness, you know, like fit dad, that kind of body. If you're a professional bodybuilder, I'd like to see you training anywhere between 5, and that's on the low end, and more like 6 to 9 sessions per week. So Jared Feather, IFB Pro, my biological son, he's currently in Thailand, I think, lost. Found in a sense, but also lost.
Slowly colonizing.
Something like that, being colonized. In any case.
Colonizing.
Lots of that. Yes. So that's why he's there. So he trains usually 9 times a week, which means some days he does 2 a days. He's literally a professional bodybuilder. It's his job to do that.
What else are you going to do?
He's got nothing else. He sits in his apartment, stares at a fucking wall, or he's training. No, wait, that's me. Jesus. He sits in his apartment with ladies, I've been told. For a serious effort at changing your body composition, at trying to get more jacked and lean, if you've had enough of adult fitness and you want to be that guy at work that's fucking people are talking about, 3 to 5 times in the gym per week, each of them an hour-ish in length, hour to an hour and a half, that's what I'd call a serious effort. So if I'm in the elevator with someone and they make the mistake of talking to me and asking me about workout routines and how they can get more jacked, and they're like, yeah, I've been seeing gains, blah, blah. And I ask the question of how many times do you go to the gym per week? If they say 2, I'll be like, you could definitely benefit from going like 3 or 4. But if they say 4 or 5, any addition of days beyond that, outside of an attempt at professional bodybuilding, just yields very small returns on investment.
So what they're doing within the session that you're going to look at is...
That's what happens next. If they say, well, I train 5 days a week, my next thing is to ask them a series of other questions, which you and I think we'll get to at the end of this, is how to troubleshoot, because there's a lot. There's a big can of worms. And some of those questions may not even be training related. So I'll automatically be like, how much are you sleeping and what's your diet like? And then you get the whole like, well, ever since I started fucking my secretary, I sleep a lot less. And I'm like, hey, my man, but you could do less of that and grow more muscle.
How should people progress weights over time? That's important.
For secretaries? Oh, just in hypertrophy.
Yeah.
Progression over time, very, very important question. So there are many ways to do it, but some of the ways run into problems. If you just add reps or load when you feel like it, you could be onto something. But also, you could just be being a little bitch, like when exactly squatting over 4 plates do you feel like squatting more than that? Fuck that, never. I feel like not squatting at all. On the other hand, if you go up by very large amounts, you risk some technical decay and some injury probability. Your body's used to squatting 4 plates. You put a 5th plate on there. Sure, you're still good for a few reps, but that is a very different exercise at that point. Your connective tissues are used to 4 plates. They're not used to 5. Some shit can go zig when it should have zagged, and then you're fucked. So what I would say, the safe bet and a good bet from the perspective of kind of mandating yourself to progress, safe from the perspective that's not extreme, is one of 2 options, maybe a combination of both. Adding just a little bit of weight to the bar every single week while you're in what's called your accumulation phase until you get tired and need a deload, or adding a repetition, maybe 2. So for example, if you're doing push-ups at home by yourself, where no one loves you, no one cares if you live or die. The mailman might say the smell's bad after a while and your cats have started to eat you, that sort of thing. If you're at home working out with push-ups, you can do a set of 18 fresh, close to failure. Next week, it's 19. The week after, 20. The week after that, try 21. When you can't beat 21 and you get 20 and your pecs are still tired and sore, it's probably time for a few days off or a few days of active rest kind of situation, recovery, until you come back and start hitting it again. And then you slowly climb back up. 19, 20, 21, 22, all-time PR. Amazing. So adding reps is an awesome way to progress. The other way is adding load, small loads, right? The only kind I'm blowing nowadays. Hey, anyone? No one. All right. So you go 100 pounds on dumbbell press. Then maybe your gym goes up by, fucking dumbbell press was a terrible example. I'll say why in a sec. Regular barbell bench press, 100 pounds, week, 10 reps, week 1. Week 2, try 105, still 10 reps. Then 110, then 115, then so on and so forth. If you can't match or beat your PRs, then you have to take some rest, take it easy, recycle those numbers, and then try again. The trippy thing about lifting and progression and hypertrophy and strength is you progress by these tiny little increments. But tiny incremental progressions over months and months of training lead to big gains. Some people get impatient and they want to fucking slap the wheels on. Like they've been leg pressing 4 plates for a while. Like, yeah, man, fucking feeling it today. Put 5 on that motherfucker. And it's like, okay, but you could get hurt.
We do have smaller plates.
We do have smaller plates, and you'll be baffled as to why we have them. It's for that slow, steady progression. So generally the progression should be roughly linear. You add a similar small amount of load over time or repetitions, sometimes both. You keep progressing over time over some number of sessions until 2 sessions in a row, you can't hit that same PR you hit in the last session. You're no longer as strong. That means your current level of cumulative fatigue is too high to present the most robust overload. At that point, you continue to progress linearly until you cannot progress anymore. Then it's time to do one of 2 things. One is a recovery half week, which means for half a week, whatever you were going to do, you take that same session and you divide everything roughly by half. Half the load, half the reps, half the sets. It's so fucking easy. It's a warm-up. The whole workout takes 20 minutes. That lets your muscles recuperate a ton so you have another few weeks of progression later. If multiple muscles have arrived to that breaking point at the same time, and systemically you feel fucked up, your desire to train is really low, you're kind of sore all over in all the joints, your sleep is kind of thrown off, your appetite is lower, that means you're just overreached total body. Then you probably need more like a week of half of everything. That's called a deload week. You take one of those, and then you restart the progression of starting a few reps away from failure, and next week, add a little bit of load. Add a rep or two, and go up, you go up, drop the fatigue.
How long, how many weeks
relax.
does this tend to be?
Great question. If you're training pretty fucking hard in the first week, which you should be, 3 reps shy of failure, at least above your minimum effective volume, something to give you a pump and a little bit of soreness. Most people training that hard, if they train 4, 5, or 6 times per week, because the systemic fatigue is huge from that much training, most people can't last longer, am I right, than about 4 to 8 weeks. If you're a beginner, you can go 1 year without deloading because you're just not strong enough to accumulate enough systemic fatigue. You see a guy squatting 500 for 10, you're like, my motherfucker's going to be feeling, I don't give a shit how good a shape he is. He's going to need deload pretty soon. It's so extreme that at the top ends of powerlifting, a very fatiguing lift like the deadlift, some of the world's best deadlifters go heavy in the deadlift, really heavy and hard, once every 2 or 3 weeks only. For the deadlift, every other week is a deload. 2/3 of the week through the year deload. That's how much 1 week it can fatigue you, but that's insanely exceptional. So I'd say for most hard training people, 4 to 8. If you really know what you're doing, 4 to 6. Because if you really know what you're doing, you're training super fucking hard, you accumulate fatigue faster. If you're a beginner, if you train twice a week or 3 times a week, if you're training smaller muscles like arms and stuff, you may be able to go 12 or 16 weeks without needing a deload. How do you know that? You keep adding load to the bar or reps, and you keep getting stronger. Then you're good to go. Keep going.